So, it appears to be a straight shootout between West Ham United and Newcastle United for the signature of current Manchester United player Jesse Lingard. How do we know this? Well, we don't really fully know it. All we can do is speculate and hope that adding 2 plus 2 equals 4. On this occasion, I think it's a pretty good shout. What we do know is that he's turned down a few contracts from Manchester United. We know that he values the club, and I'm talking about Manchester United here because he's a boyhood fan, but also he'd love to play for England, and he certainly understands, following his loan spell at West Ham, that the best way to get that is to play first team football. We know that there's a new manager coming in at Manchester United. I suppose there is a slim possibility that whoever comes in might want to utilise Jesse Lingard, but Jesse Lingard needs to be playing every game. He needs to be the top man, basically, in whatever club that he plays for, and that's if he's going to make the Qatar World Cup squad. Now, he could risk it, but let's be perfectly honest, it's highly unlikely, and whoever comes in is going to be given a lot of money by Manchester United because they're in a terrible, terrible state at the moment. Tell you what else we know. We know that he's put his house up for sale. Jesse Lingard has put his house up for sale, and there's been a raft of burglaries over and around there. In fact, I think it's fair to say that a lot of Manchester United and Manchester City players got targeted quite a lot. I think it was the reason that Angel Di Maria left Manchester United. He got burgled. Pogba's been burgled. Loads have been burgled. In fact, there's a name on the tip of my tongue. Very recently, a Manchester United player got burgled, and his wife and his kid were still in the house at the time. There's clearly some organised crime or something going on, and those players are getting targeted. I've got to be perfectly honest with you. If I had all the riches that these people have, I'd move. I wouldn't be there. I mean, just nothing. It doesn't matter how many trophies you win or whatever. It doesn't matter what glory you bring in your career if your family aren't safe. I mean, just really, what's the point? I think probably what I'd also do is I'd probably have hired security at my house every time I was playing a match. But anyway, because this is what they do. When the players are away and on away games, they target the houses then. So it clearly is a bunch of people know what they're doing. So he's put his house up for sale, and we know he's leaving. Now, here's the thing. We're offering money and obviously a place in the squad, as are Newcastle. The Newcastle offer is mouth-watering. Eye-watering? Mouth-watering? Whatever. Makes you, I don't know, mouth-watering, sort of num, 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 or probably eye-watering. Makes you want to cry. As a West Ham fan, probably makes you want to cry. £150,000 per week, plus a £10 million signing-on fee. West Ham can't compete with that, and nor should we. Because what West Ham have to offer is something very, very different. Now, there are certainly leaks coming from the not from the Manchester United camp, from the Jesse Lingard side, I think it's fair to say. Not really specifying either way. He likes to tease Lingard. If you follow his... Clearly, I don't follow his, what I'm about to say, because I don't know what it is. It's either Instagram or Snapchat. Couldn't tell you the difference between either one, by the way. But he posts sort of teasing things about West Ham, pictures of the ground and different things like that, which is a bit of a tease, but we like it, let's be perfectly honest. So that would indicate a fondness for West Ham, and why shouldn't he be fond of West Ham? I have argued time after time after time the best point in Jesse Lingard's career was that 6 months, whatever it was, at West Ham. That was the best form he's ever had. I mean, look, he would probably argue it. There was a point where he was featuring week after week with his good mate Marcus Rashford, Man United, and they were both featuring for England. He might argue that was the best point in his career. I'm sure that was a thoroughly enjoyable time. In terms of form, it was when he was at West Ham. The fans loved him. Why shouldn't he be fond of West Ham? So there's a certain amount of teasing going on there. But what West Ham have to offer, and the club have not a past official comment on this, but the club have alluded to this fact, is that we can offer, at the moment, a higher grade of football. Look, clearly Newcastle United intend to buy their way to the top, or as much as they're allowed to. What they continue to do is spend £22 million on the striker who's just not going to be used over the forthcoming years, and start chucking £10 million signing on bonuses, 150 grand a week, to a bunch of players, and not bringing in revenue to match, then within 2 or 3 years, financial fair play will bite them on the arse. Believe you me, if it bit Man City on the arse, who bring in far more money than they do. Basically, financial fair play means it's a lot more complicated than this, but you can't spend more than you earn. Newcastle United have got 3 years where they can have a little spend up, and then the drawbridge shuts. And they can't spend unlimited money during that time. So, anyway, whether they can buy their way into the Champions League is another matter. I suspect it's going to be very, very difficult for them to do that. Jesse Lingard's not got time for some 2, 3, 4 year project. Jesse Lingard wants to be in the England team now, yesterday, tomorrow. Actually, can't be in the one today, obviously, can he? So that gives West Ham a footballing advantage. For too long, West Ham have paid over the odds for players because we couldn't offer them something that was attractive in terms of our football and the competitions we're playing in. Now the table has turned. West Ham can say, look, we operate in the top half of the Premier League. You come to us for football reasons. Newcastle now in the bottom half of the Premier League got to say, no, you come to us for money and for the promise that in the future we'll do something else. That's where it stands. Before I go any further, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. You can download the OneFootball app and find out all about the latest West Ham news, transfer gossip, upcoming matches, which are fixtures, obviously, results, injury news, all of that stuff. And there's some good news with Ogbonna, by the way, by clicking the link below. Download the app to your phone. When you download it to your phone, it says, oi, you, who do you support? You say West Ham United, please. Takes all the news stories from the newspapers and generic Premier League websites, put them all into one place for you, so you don't have to go searching for the news. Use the QR code up there. Best of all, it is free. Now, there's another aspect to this Jesse Lingard situation, if you want to call it that. We'll call it the Jesse Lingard situation. Perhaps we won't title the video the Jesse Lingard situation, but anyway, we'll call it that between ourselves. And that's Marcus Rashford. Now, Marcus Rashford's available. I'm telling you that right now. Marcus Rashford is available. There's a project with Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, at his very, very best, was a really good Premier League player. I mean, a really good Premier League player. Some would have you believe up there with Harry Kane in terms of striker and whatnot. No, there's nothing in his record to suggest that, but a really good Premier League player. In many respects, I look at him and think the type of player that Moyes would really like, would really appreciate. But he was up there, he's now down there. To drag him up to there's a project. I think whoever's coming in at Manchester United, they need to hit the ground running because there's massive catch-up to do as far as they're concerned. If they don't hit the ground running, Arsenal have overtaken them by next season as well. I mean, sort of permanently in the top 4. It's going to be really, really difficult. Man United are basically the 6th or 7th best team in the country at the moment. That's not good enough for Manchester United. If they want to get back up there, they can't afford this long-arsed project. To get Marcus Rashford back up there, they really don't need to. They just don't need to do it. They've probably got bigger fish to fry. They probably need to bring in a proper bona fide striker. As a wide player, quite frankly, they've got better ones at the moment. They've got a youngster who's performing better than him. Sancho's playing better than him at the moment. I think he's on his way out. I really do. And that's if Marcus Rashford wants to play football. Would he come and join Jesse Lingard? I think if the price was right. And well, if the price got to be right for West Ham, this is the point. Manchester United saying that they will take 70 million for for Marcus Rashford. No one's going to bid 70 million because he ain't worth 70 million at the moment. And it pains me to say this. I am sorry for this, but Marcus Rashford is damaged goods, and Marcus Rashford's got completely sidetracked and unfortunately sort of disappeared down the world of social media. Now, there was an incident, you may or may not have heard about it. It was relatively recently. I may have it slightly wrong, the gist will be right. Manchester United played really badly and they were coming out of the players' entrance. There was either an autograph hunter or somebody that wanted a selfie. There was a Manchester United fan outside. He asked for the autograph or asked for the picture. Marcus Rashford either said no or just ignored him. Maybe he said no. And I think the Manchester United fan said something like, oi, the least you can do is have a picture after the way you've just played out there. Apparently, Marcus Rashford made a hand signal, said, come and say that to my face, something like that. That's how the exchange went down, roughly. Now, what then happened afterwards is Marcus Rashford then went onto social media to explain itself, and it's at this point I have an issue with it. There's just been too much of that. He really needs to concentrate on his football. For some people, the social media aspect works. Funny enough, Jesse Lingard would be a really, really good example of that, because more or less it's happy-go-lucky, it's fun, I'm not going to do... I actually almost did that. Whatever the thing is that he does, it's the jailings. Without all of that stuff, the social media, there's no jailings, there's no clothing company, there's no brands, there's none of that stuff. It works for him. For some people it works for because they can see it for what it is, they can make it fun, they can put it down. Patrice Evra would be another one that springs to mind, who ran a fun social media account. So, Marcus Rashford is his burdens, really, because of all that fantastic good work he did. I'm not criticising the good work. In fact, it was excellent work. As I've said many times on here before, it is an issue that is very, very close to my heart. Who in their right mind would argue getting a hot meal into children when they're struggling? I mean, come on. I mean, that's great. And you know what? It was a good time to do it, because there was no football at the time when Rashford was doing this. Everyone was sat at home, twiddling their thumbs. Everyone's locked up. You're only allowed out for 1 hour a day. What shall I do? What shall I do with my platform? I'm going to do some good. He did the good. Now it's time to draw a line under it, employ someone to carry on his good work, and he needs to concentrate on his football. But the trouble with social media is very, very addictive, and that's why he finds himself. So now it's the answer to everything. He wants to help people. It's social media. He wants to put something out there that's fun. It's social media. He wants to answer his critics. It's social media. Harry Maguire did it. I don't know if it's a Manchester United. Well, it can't be just a Manchester United thing, because I said that Jesse Lingard gets it right. Harry Maguire did it. Harry Maguire had loads and loads of criticism. And I think he scored a goal for England. It was possibly last season, actually, or in the last round of international fixtures. Who knows? He was being criticised. He scored a goal for England, slid on his knees and cupped his ear. Gave it the old Sam Allardyce, cupped his ear. And when asked afterwards who was that a message to, he said, "Oh, that wasn't a message to anyone." Well, clearly it was. And I just think there's... and to be fair, I didn't think it answered the critics anyway. The critics were criticising his defending, scoring a goal. He's not saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm defending well." Well, no, you're not. You just scored a goal. But anyway, my point is, too few people concentrate on their football at the moment, and sometimes you just get sidetracked. That would be my main worry, Marcus Rashford. Do I think he's a good enough player for West Ham? Yes, absolutely. I think he's right at our level, actually. I don't think he's... When he was playing well, people were saying, "Oh, who's better, him or Kylian Mbappe?" Come on. I mean, you know, let's just get that right. But he's a really, really good player. And being at West Ham's level is not bad at all. Jarrod Bowen's at West Ham's level, and Jarrod Bowen is a fantastic player. I would see him doing a similar job the other side. Maybe Moyes would deploy him down the middle. I think it would be a good transfer, but not at 75 million. But he has to drop that stuff. He has to drop that distractions when he carries that baggage, and it is now baggage, because it's stopping him playing well. And I'm sorry to say that, and it is, but it really is. It's stopping him playing well. He needs to refocus. Marcus Rashford's a young player, but if he carries on the way he's doing, before he knows it, he's going to be 27. Okay? It doesn't just, by the way, it doesn't just happen. You don't just go from 20 to 22. I don't know how old he is, actually. But you don't just go from 22 to 27. But my point is, those years go quickly in the middle. Ask Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard spent a lot of time not playing football during that time, and that's why he's in a hurry now. In terms of miles on the clock, I've said this before, Jesse Lingard has probably played... Well, I think I said it last season. Last season, I said Jesse Lingard's probably played 100 games less than he should have played for a player his age. It's probably now more like 130 games less, and so it's not getting better. But what my point is, he's not a tired and fatigued player. You know, there's a lot of running left in Jesse Lingard. So I just think it's really, really important though that Rashford makes the right decision now. For West Ham, yes, but only under the circumstances that suit us. That's price, and certainly a player that's not distracted might do him a little bit of good to get out of Manchester, quite possibly. As for the Lingard one, I'm adamant that we really thought we were getting him in the last window, and had we have got him in the last window, I'm pretty sure we'd be challenging for top four. I think he would have made that much of a difference. I think so much of what we were based on, so much of our transfer window inactivity was because we thought we might get Jesse. That's why we went in for him. But on the last day of the transfer window and the day before, we were still trying for him. We'd not given up hope. I just wonder how many players were put in front of Moyes and said, hold on, shall we go and buy this player? And Moyes is saying, no, I still think we'll get Jesse. I don't know. We're never going to know what the truth is. We're never going to know who was to blame. It might not be no one at West Ham to blame. It might just be Man United just turned around and dangled the carrot and just pulled it away and said, no, you're not going. Who knows? I'm pretty sure Jesse would have liked to have been, because if Jesse had been at West Ham, he would have been in this England squad now. Over England playing tonight. Maybe Ivory Coast, possibly. And certainly we would have played against Switzerland or Ivory Coast. I'm absolutely sure about that. Is he going to come? I hope so. I've not done a Jesse Lingard video in a little while, but I do think he'd make a big difference to West Ham. West Ham are really high at the moment in terms of the league. To climb up the league, the margins, it's easy to climb. It's easy, not easy, but relatively, to climb from 13th to 12th. You can do that. 12th to 11th, so on and so forth. We're in the bit now where it's really, really hard to jump a place, to find that player that makes you a better team. Jesse Lingard certainly would fall into that category. If we bring in Jesse Lingard, if we can bring in 2 other players of that ilk, then we become a better team next season. A better team next season, it might just maintain the status quo because others will improve. But with a right club to do that, I see it as a straight fight out between Newcastle and their money and West Ham for football reasons. It's just down to Jesse Lingard what he decides to do.